Hey, how's it going, guys? Today is Thursday, a couple days after my birthday. It ended up being a really laid back, chill day on my birthday. I didn't really want to do anything, wasn't really feeling it. My dad, he wanted to take me out to breakfast, so I went ahead and went over there, and he took me to this place called Los Tres Cochinitos, which is the Three Little Pigs in Wilmington. We had some breakfast, him and I, which was nice. I don't get to spend a whole lot of quality time with my dad. And so we went and did that. I've gotten really close with my dad over the past, couple of years. It wasn't always like that. I had a whole lot of resentment towards my dad. But recently, he got hit by a car about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago. And I had to, step in and help him out, take care of him, take him to the doctor, and just make sure he was good. It was kind of a really difficult time because his wife was in the hospital for some medical issues, and she wasn't able to, help out really with him. So I took some time off of work and I stepped in for a couple of months, which was really nice because I had never spent that much quality time with my dad. And during that time, we were able to talk a lot. And I think that's when I really started to try and look past and move forward from a lot of our problems, or the resentment I had towards him because of some stuff that happened when I was younger. None of the problems that I had, or none of the resentment I had, was coming directly from me. It was more, I had resentment for my father, for my dad, because of the things I witnessed, or because of the things that he subjected me to when I was younger, which was, domestic violence in the home. He domestically abused my mother. Um, he had an alcohol problem at the time. He had a few different women. He was, cheating on my mother, and there was a lot of domestic violence in the home that I was watching when I was younger. A lot of stuff that a kid shouldn't be watching. Period. No matter what, or anyone for that matter. No one should be, having to watch that and witness that. But I did, and I had a lot of resentment, and it's nuts because my father, he showed me more love than I've ever experienced. My dad showed me unconditional love. No matter what I did, no matter what I said, no matter what happened in my life, my father always showed me the most amount of love, more love than anyone can show a person, another human being, in my opinion. It's, I don't think it's, I don't want to say it's rare, but I think it's definitely something special, the love that my dad showed for me. My mother did as well. My mother definitely showed me a lot of love. She was more of the authority figure, though. She was more of the motherly figure, where if I messed up, she was the one that's gonna, come beat my ass. And she did. She definitely kept me in line. I was a really good kid when I was growing up. Pre 12 years old, she, kept me in line. But around 12 years old, my parents split up. And in my opinion, it was, well overdue. My mom should have probably left, many, many years before that. But I ended up spending a lot of time with my mom. When my parents split up, I ended up going with my mom, staying with my mom. And, I had a lot of resentment towards my dad. I almost had hate, in my heart for him, for a lot of the things he did to my mother. My dad financially, he took care of us. He helped out after they got divorced. and my mom ended up getting remarried, and she married a great man. His name is Adam Rodriguez, rest in peace. And he was there for me a lot. He was a good male role model. He was a good person to my mom. He took care of her when she really needed a good person in her life. He he was my stepdad. He had his own kids. He had three of his own, and I wasn't one of them. So he didn't treat me like I was his son. Definitely didn't treat me like I was a stepchild. He he treated me more like I was family, and he taught me a lot of things. He taught me how to be responsible. He taught me how to be a man. I met him 12, 13 years old. So you really start to listen to other people at that age, and he was one of those people I listened to. There was a couple of other people in my life that made a big difference. My cousin Juan, he was there a lot for me, and I hung out with him a lot. Also, my neighbor John Munoz. I lived across the street from a gentleman by the name of John Manuel Munoz for a lot of years in Lomita, and he was another one of those people who always looked out for me and guided me and pointed me in the right direction. I think as soon as you hit that age, like 12, 13 years old, you really stop listening to your parents a lot, and you start listening to other people. There's other influences, there's other people that influence you, and I think it's a really important time when you get to that age to have people that guide you and influence you in a positive way, because we tend not to listen to our parents, and we tend to listen to other people before we listen to our parents. So he was around a lot, but yeah, I had a lot of hard feelings towards my dad, and I didn't hang out with him a whole lot. He was always there for me. Again, he always showed me love, but I just I had a lot of hard feelings towards him. So during this time when he got hurt and I really stepped in, we got to talk a lot, spend a lot of time with each other, and my opinion of my father changed. I realized my dad wasn't the same person anymore, and that he grew, and he got older, and he was a much different person. So from that day forward, things changed. I started calling my dad every day. I talk to my dad every single day now, even if it's for 30 seconds, even if it's just, hey, how you doing, and then hang up. And sometimes that's all it is. It's 30 seconds. But I talk to my dad every single day of my life. We have a conversation, and it's great. I've never been so close to my father. Talking about changing and growing and being a different person, we all do. We all become different people, sometimes in a positive way, sometimes in a negative way. I personally have been taking a lot of steps to try and change in a positive way. I'm not the person that I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I made a lot of poor decisions in my early 20s. In my late teens, I ended up having a child really young. I had a daughter when I was 17, 18 years old. So I've been a dad a really long time. And I didn't know how to be a dad. At that age, who knows how to be a dad? So you make a lot of bad decisions. You don't know what you're doing. And those bad decisions carried on for years and years and years. I wasn't good at keeping a job. I used to get jobs, good jobs, and I'd quit them. I had probably 20, 30 jobs in my lifetime before I found a career and I got into film. I would work a job and I would become really good at it, or I would be really, a good employee, and then I would quit for no reason, or I'd get fired for whatever reason. And I would do stupid things. I would burn bridges with people, and people would help me get jobs, and then I'd make them look bad, or I would lie. I would lie constantly. I would cheat. I would steal. I was, just not a good person, and for no reason. I didn't have any reason. I had a good family. I had people that I could depend on. I had people that were willing to help me. I had a place to live. I had a roof over my head, but I just made poor decisions. And And I struggled. I struggled with that for a lot of my life. Lost a lot of good friends, friends that meant a lot to me, friends that were friends of mine for 20 years, that I still think about constantly. I wish I wouldn't have made such bad decisions, and I would have maintained a lot of those friendships, relationships, work relationships, personal relationships, marriages, a lot of these things I didn't know how to manage, or I didn't have the tools to understand how to manage them. And it was very bad. I didn't do a good job. But now that I'm older and I have some years under my belt, I think I'm able to see where I went wrong, and I'm able to see what's really important in life now. Working hard is really important. Having a job that you love and that provides for you and your family is really important. Talking to people, building relationships with people is really important, especially the people that are there for you, and especially the people that hold you down, and the people that you know have always helped you throughout your life. You want to keep those relationships. I had a terrible relationship with my kids. I'm trying to rebuild. I have two little ones, 11 and 13, Savannah and Alex, and I'm trying to rebuild with them. It's tricky. It's hard. It's a constant process of trying and trying and trying. Relationships with my wife, continuing to try and build with her and continuing to try and grow with her. My stepson, who I consider my son, trying to do a good job with him and to be a good role model for him, to teach him to be a productive, positive, good human being. All these things that you don't start to learn are important until you hit a certain age. If you're lucky, you do it at a younger age. I was older, much older. I was almost in my 40s by the time I started learning a lot of these lessons that I should have known a long time ago. Communication was another thing that I struggled with. I struggled with that in film, in my current work now, early on in my career. I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how important it was. I didn't return emails when I was supposed to. I didn't know how to talk to people. I didn't have much of an education. I didn't go to college. I didn't even finish high school. And I struggled to learn how to do a lot of these things. I had a learning disability. I didn't know how to read and write very well. And all these things, they started to play a huge role in who I was becoming and how I was feeling about myself. I was feeling bad about myself. I thought I wasn't a good person. I thought I was going to be a loser. I thought that I was a loser. And, slowly but surely, my path started changing. And I got into film. I learned how to communicate in film. I learned, hey, if somebody calls you, you respond immediately. If somebody texts you, respond immediately. It doesn't matter if you don't want to talk to them. It doesn't matter if you don't have an answer at that moment. It doesn't matter what the reason is, but just respond. It's the right thing to do, is respond to somebody, respond to emails immediately. Now I check my email every 20 minutes. I'm constantly on my phone, checking my email, checking text messages, calling people back. It's an important thing in life. Same with marriage and in your relationships with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones. Communicate. Let them know what you're feeling. Let them know how you're feeling. And, all these things that I'm trying to do and all these changes that I've made, and this person, who I am now and I'm trying to be, I'm still struggling. And that's just the way of life. I'm struggling in a different way because I'm just not content. But all those other changes that I've made are still positive and are still very helpful in my life. I've never been in such a good relationship. Of course, we have our ups and downs. Everyone argues, everyone has disagreements, but I'm happy. My relationship with my mother is a little kind of wonky right now, but that's a whole nother video, whole nother topic, and I'm sure I'll get into that as well. As well as my kids and a bunch of other videos I want to make, but this one is more geared towards wanting to share some of the things that I've gone through and how I've made changes to become a different person. It's a good thing, and I've repaired a lot of relationships, a lot of mistakes that where I've gone wrong. I've corrected them, and I'm really thankful that I've been growing so much as a man, as a human being. Now, I have good coworkers. I have people that I constantly work with. I'm currently not as busy as I'd like to be, but I'm definitely, in a good place as far as work goes. I am in this rut where I'm getting tired of the grind, and I'll talk about that in another video as well. My work is amazing. I love it. It's one of the best things in my life. However, it is difficult. I am freelance, and I constantly have to kind of be on a grind and looking for my next gig. And that's, after 15 or 17 years of working in television, it's just starting to really take a toll on me. So I don't know what the answer is there, and I'm still struggling with that, but hopefully I'll figure that out soon. But yeah, continue to grow, continue to try and become better. These videos, a lot of people have been reaching out to me privately and letting me know that they felt the same way. Or I have a friend that was talking to me this past weekend about how he feels the same way a lot. And I think it's important to talk. I may be just talking to myself right now, but it's helping me, and hopefully it might help somebody else who's watching these videos who might be feeling the same way. I think a lot of times men bottle things up and don't share or don't know how to share. And I think that it's important to share. I think that we need to get things out and not hold it in, not bottle these things up, because eventually you hold it in so much or you bottle it up so much, you're going to end up blowing up. Or, a lot of things people do, a lot of crazy things in situations where they feel like they have no way out. And I think talking about what's bothering you and sharing with people, even if it's people you don't know. I mean, look at this here, again, there's a lot of people here on Facebook I don't really know. There's a lot of family, friends, loved ones, but I'm just putting it out there. I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm going to share what I've gone through and who I was, and I'm going to share my changes and how I'm continuing to try and change. And that's going to be my outlet. That's going to be my way of trying to help myself and try and maybe help somebody along the way. Please, comment. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you guys feel. If you guys are feeling the same way, please leave a comment or private message me. I'd love to chat or hear about what you guys think about what I'm talking about, or maybe have you guys gone through similar stuff. Domestic violence is no joke. I've personally never been involved in domestic violence in my relationships, but I know that that's something that happens in a lot of relationships, and sometimes people don't know how to get out of it, or people feel stuck or comfortable. They don't want to leave, or they don't know how to leave. Growing up watching that, it was a tough thing. So yeah, just let me know what you guys think. I've already rambled on for going on 20 minutes, and I think I went ahead and said almost everything I wanted to say. And I'll keep posting videos and see how it goes. Thank you guys. Appreciate everything, and I'll talk to you guys soon.